When you think of assassination attempts on an emperor's life, you might picture scheming generals, shadowy assassins, or power-hungry rivals. But in 1542 China, the would-be killers weren't who you'd expect. They were the emperor's maids, and they were fed up. Let me introduce you to Zhu Hozong, better known as the Jing Emperor, a man who ruled the Ming dynasty for 45 long years. Now, Jing wasn't just your average emperor. He was a political mastermind, sly, cunning, and capable of controlling the empire with a firm grip. But as the years went on, he developed a little obsession that got him into a lot of trouble: immortality. And trust me, things got weird real fast. The emperor's obsession with living forever led him down the dark path of Taoist alchemy, and his genius idea for staying young? Using his maids as human ingredients. Yep, you read that right. The poor palace maids were forced into creepy rituals where they had to collect their menstrual blood. Yep, you heard it, for his so-called elixirs of life. But that's not all. To keep the maids pure, they were only allowed to eat mulberry leaves and drink dew, which, surprise, surprise, didn't work out so well. Many of them starved to death. Apparently, Jing thought bathing in virgin blood would keep him youthful forever. Totally bloody creepy. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, Yen Song, one of the emperor's scholars, decided to offer a little more fuel to this crazy fire. He presented the emperor with a so-called divine turtle. Yes, a turtle dyed in 5 colors, claiming it was some mystical creature. Jing, naturally, worshipped it like a god and entrusted it to young Jing and the other maids to feed and care for. Spoiler alert, the poor turtle was dyed and eventually died. Of course, the maids were terrified, knowing they'd be blamed for the death of this divine creature. Yang Jining and the others begged Wang Ningpin for help, but the situation had already spiraled out of control. That was the final straw. Between the degrading rituals, constant abuse, and the emperor's cruel punishments for every tiny mistake, these girls were living in a nightmare. Add the fear of the emperor's wrath, and now the death of this ridiculous turtle, the maids decided it was time to act. On October 21, 1542, 16 palace maids, led by the brave young Jining, decided it was time for revenge. They hatched a plan: strangle the emperor in his sleep using a rope. The stage was set, the emperor was asleep, and the maids were ready to take action. But in their panic, things didn't exactly go smoothly. Instead of quickly ending the emperor's life, they tied the rope into a knot, making it impossible to tighten the loop. The result? Jing fell into a coma but didn't die. That's when Empress Feng entered the scene, subduing the maids before they could try again. When the emperor finally woke from his coma, he was furious, and the fallout was brutal. Not only were the 16 maids executed in horrifying fashion, but even concubines like Chao Duan and Wang Ning, who were merely accused of being involved, were also arrested and punished. Let's just say it wasn't pretty. They were tortured and dismembered alive in a public execution that sent a crystal-clear message: don't mess with the emperor. Oh, and just for good measure, he also had their families punished, because why not? Anyone remotely connected to the plot met a swift and brutal end. And here's the kicker. After all that, Jing didn't even learn his lesson. He just doubled down on his Taoist rituals, continuing his creepy quest for eternal life. He became even more reclusive, barely showing his face in public for the rest of his reign. While the empire grew and developed during his rule, the emperor himself became a shadow, obsessed with alchemy, immortality, and his own twisted rituals.